On today's episode, as it is approaching comp season, I'm going to be discussing competing, but also dieting and having a social life, how to not be selfish in the process, and things that maybe newbies to dieting will want to have a listen to more in terms of a mindset sense and a really good approach to it. So enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Breakthrough the Bullshit podcast. I am your host, Alice Round. I am pumped to have you here. We are going to really strip back all of the bullshit surrounding nutrition, training, fad diets, everything in the industry so that we can give you education to get the best possible results. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and let's go through all this bullshit. Welcome back, guys. Sorry, it has been a little while between podcasts. No excuses here. I've been traveling around with family and taking a little bit of downtime, which we all need to do. And as a result, my podcasts have slipped through a little bit for the last week. So I will be back on regular podcasts, minimum of 2 a week, hoping for 3, but don't want to make any big promises to you guys and then disappoint. But definitely I've got some really exciting shows planned. I'm going to be having on some special guests coming up. I'm going to be having Lane Norton coming on very, very soon. So if you have any questions for him, then be sure to email them through to me at info@aliceround.com. I'd love to have your questions for him. I'm also super keen on doing another Q&A episode. That seemed quite popular. So if you have any questions specific to me that you want answered on the show in relation to anything, training, nutrition, whatever it is, even if it's PT, industry, that sort of thing, then I'd be happy to answer those as well. So anyway, getting into this episode today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I think is really important as comp season approaches for my clients and also myself. I've got some clients competing this weekend. And I think that a really big thing as a coach that I'm super, super passionate about with my clients is making sure that they have a little bit of a good old word called balance in their life when they are competing. I think that competing can be a very, 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 very selfish sport. You're making the choice to basically sacrifice certain things in your life, which is really, really good, I feel, from a standpoint of proving to yourself that you can do something, proving to yourself that you can get outside your comfort zone and commit to something long term. And it's a really, really cool process if you find that maybe you're lacking a little bit of direction or focus, or you're struggling to commit to things in your life. I think going through the comp prep process can be really awesome for teaching you that you can stick to something and you can be dedicated. But in saying that, at the same time, it also can be quite detrimental when people become very, very obsessive around it. And they basically, sacrifice everything in their life to get on that stage and to be, the most shredded person up there or whatever it is. Not even that. I mean, I see some bikini girls who sacrifice everything and I'm like, and you guys aren't even getting to the level of body fat as to what some of these bodybuilders are and figure competitors and physique athletes, like female physique, I mean. So it's just crazy that a competition like that can really take over someone's, I guess, brain space and life. I've seen relationships break up several times during contest preps. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people be more snappy and argumentative. All of these sort of things that can happen, and just self-absorbed, I guess, is the biggest one, where you might talk to someone and they're prepping and they don't ask you like a single thing about yourself or how you're going with your day. You literally say hi and all they do is talk about their comp prep before you've even asked. And I think that that's just one of the saddest things that you hear in the competition circuit. And I guess we need to remember at the end of the day that unless you're a pro athlete and you're being paid to compete, I don't just mean have a pro card, but I mean it's actually your job in the sense that you've got sponsors that allow you that pay you a salary, an annual salary, that you've got endorsements coming in, or you've got streams of revenue that it's enough to live on. And your job is literally to be, an athlete and compete. And you look at some of the most successful bodybuilders in the world, like let's take Phil Heath, for example. He could probably, live on just enough from sponsorships and just enough from endorsements, but instead he's actually become a businessman and he's created his own company and his own brand and his own products. because he's realizing that this is going to be short-lived and that in a few years' time, he probably won't be competing and he's going to need something to fall back on when those endorsements and things fall through. Even though knowing him, he's probably going to be someone that's probably made enough in his lifetime to really retire on. But it's really inspiring seeing even some of the biggest bodybuilders in the world still working their ass off in a business sense and knowing that this is going to be short-lived, because it is a very short-lived. And if you're losing your relationship because of a comp prep and you're getting on stage in your first novice bikini show and you're thinking that it's going to change your entire world, like you're sadly mistaken. That is not going to happen. And I think this is a major, major thing in the amateurs. Sometimes the amateur leagues is taken so seriously. And I understand it if you have the potential to turn pro and you really do have that potential to take it somewhere and it to be something, then 100% give it your all for a season and, see what happens, or give it your all. And then once you get feedback, take a step back, get back into the world. And then when you're ready, get back in there again and commit to it. And I think, again, like I said, I don't want this to get misconstrued that I'm against bodybuilding, because by no means, I absolutely love bodybuilding and the sport of bodybuilding. I love seeing the physical changes. I love seeing my clients do it. I'm doing it again myself this year. But I'm trying to say that the mindset towards it has to be in the right place. You have to understand that you're committing it to this period of time, and that it also means that it shouldn't affect everyone else around you in a negative space. That is a really, really big one. So if you've got friends and family, you want to make sure that you're not making it all about you, that it's not all about your comp. Like if they're having dinner and they want to enjoy some lasagna and you can't eat it, that you don't sit there and complain like, oh, poor me, I can't eat that food. You made that choice to not eat that food. You made the choice to prep. It's your choice, so don't sit there and complain about it. I think that's a massive one. I find it really funny when my clients say to me, oh my God, like I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry to the point where, I can't sleep or I can't do anything. I can't function. I'm grumpy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like thinking in my head, and I'll say to them, I'm like, hunger is a part of bodybuilding. Like you're getting to levels of conditioning that your body doesn't want to be at. It's going to be uncomfortable. But the more you focus on that hunger, the worse it's going to get. Instead, focus on all the other things in your day. Keep busy. That's a really big one. The more you sit around, you're just going to be thinking about food, and that's a huge, huge one. And one of my good friends, Kyle Weber, he's in Canberra, he's a comp coach as well, and he did a really good video about this. And he was basically saying that when you're focusing solely on the food, there mustn't be a lot else going on in your life. And I really loved the video because it's 100% true. He was saying that it's so important when you're in a comp phase to focus on the fact that not just that you're missing out on foods, because food shouldn't rule your life, but to focus on the other things that you're missing out on that you're really excited for later on. So rather than being in a negative mindset of, oh, I'm missing out on this and planning out what you're going to eat post-comp, because that's where the problems start with reverse dieting and weight gain, but focusing on all the other things that you're maybe missing out on. Things like, for him, he has a child, and he said, focusing on the fact that he is missing out on spending more time with his daughter, or, taking her out. Instead, he has to do his own cardio, all these sort of things. So for me, it's same sort of things with my dogs, missing out on spending more time with them, going on holidays and not having to worry as much about sort of tracking, being more flexible, spending time with my partner, even my business, spending more time taking on new clients, all of those things that you aren't going to do as much of when you're prepping and being selfish and focusing on you. So keeping in the mindset that you're doing this for a period of time and then you're going to back off it, and you're not going to, the goal isn't to blow out, obviously, but you're going to be able to then retain your life back. So I think for a lot of people, if you have this goal, okay, let's say for example, you have this goal in mind that you're going to compete and you're going to do this amateur show and you're going to win, and then you're going to go to nationals, and then maybe hopefully you're going to win that. And you're maybe going to get your pro card, and then you're going to then turn pro and maybe go compete. All right, so let's break this down. Even if you do get your pro card, it doesn't mean you're getting things paid for. You have to actually pay to compete as a pro. You're going to have to pay for flights to go internationally and compete. You're going to have to pay your way the entire way. So if your business has slipped, if your work has slipped, if your relationship slipped, all of that, and then you get to this point where you get handed a pro card and you're like, oh, sweet, I've made it. And then you realize you've got no one there supporting you and no one there proud of you, and you've lost everything in the process, then that is like a horrible way to do things. So I guess the other sense that what if you go in and you've got your mindset on winning, and then this is going to open up all these doors, and then you don't win, the exact same thing's going to happen where you're completely lost when you come out of it. And what most people will do is they'll jump back into another comp prep because it's the only thing they know, and it's the only thing that they know can give them hope, rather than going, hey, maybe if I focus now back on my business and helping, if they're a PT, maybe helping other clients, or if you're working in a job where you're unhappy, focusing on maybe getting a promotion or changing careers, all of these things, because I'm not saying that money makes the world go around, but at the end of the day, we need money to create freedom and create happiness within certain aspects of our life. So if you've got financial stress and pressure from putting so much energy into bodybuilding and not even then having money to live on week by week, and you're like stressed out about it, then that's the time to make a change and probably not compete. And I always say this going into a show, competing's expensive, and I always tell people the upfront costs. Look, it's going to cost you for good coaching, for comp entry, for supplementation, for all of these sort of things, bikinis, tan, hair, makeup. You're looking at, for like a 20-week prep, anywhere from kind of $3,000 to $4,000. And then also just little things like meal prep and all of that is going to also be a part of it. So if you're not willing and understanding that, then don't be competing. If you're in a position where you don't have much money at the moment, don't compete. Focus on maybe saving some money to put aside for a comp prep, so that when the time does come around, that you're in a better financial position. For me, I've made the choice to compete this year, and I know that it's going to impact on my business, because when I compete, I won't have the ability to have as many clients that I'm working with one-on-one, because I'm going to need maybe another hour in my day to train, a little bit more time to focus on my sleep. Normally when I am, year round and not competing, I don't really mind as much if I have to stay up till midnight or 1 a.m. to work and grind and get stuff done. And then I can, sleep in the next morning a little bit or whatever it is, catch up on sleep on the weekend. But when you're prepping, you need to be focusing on getting sleep consistently every night to get up. And if you have to do cardio in the morning or weight train in the morning and then maybe train again in the afternoon, that you have that ability to do that in your day. So I think that's a massive one. It's part of the reason that I haven't competed for the last 3 years. I've just wanted to help other people, and that has been so much more important for me than sacrificing my own time for a comp prep. In saying that, now the time is right, and I am making that choice to now focus on me for a little bit, because I've probably been the opposite of selfish for the last 3 years. And now I've spoken to my partner about it, and we've both made that decision that it's okay for us to be a little bit more selfish now and compete. But that's another big thing, making sure that you're sitting down with your partner and you guys are both chatting through it, understanding that it's going to be a little bit selfish, but in saying that, that doesn't mean you need to turn into an asshole. I think that's a big thing. People think that it's a reason to be grumpy or a reason to be shitty at someone, and it's not. It's absolutely not a reason to treat people like crap just because you've made the selfish choice to compete. So I think that's a huge one. Competing shouldn't be a reason to be an asshole. So pull your head in if you're listening to this and you're competing and you're snapping at everyone around you because you made that choice. You can't put that on anyone else. And that goes for any form of dieting, not just competing. But when you're dieting and you're trying to get to lean levels of body fat, yeah, you might be a little bit tired, you might be a little bit fatigued, all of those things. Your body's running on less calories. But the more that you focus on your sleep, focus on good nutrition, all of that, then those problems will subside. And I think it's more a mindset thing as well, a bit of a placebo effect that people think that they're tired and grumpy, but it might just be the fact that they're focusing so hard on that. They're focusing on the things like, oh, this is so hard, rather than the positives and going, this is so cool. I'm seeing my body change. I'm seeing this happen. I'm seeing that happen. Staying in a positive mindset when you're competing, I think is the best way to do it. And that's going to be hard. But when you're having those days, sitting there and writing down what you're grateful for, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this. I'm grateful for the fact that I have money to give me the flexibility to be able to work with this coach and do these things. I'm grateful for the fact that my partner's supportive of that, and then I need to be supportive of them. And that's a massive, massive thing. So if you've got friendships or relationships and you've got really cool people around you that are supporting you and asking you how your prep is and asking you how your day is and asking you all these questions, turn around and do the same back. Turn around and ask them, how's their day at work? How's your job? How's your boyfriend, girlfriend? How's your dog? All of these things. Make sure that you don't turn into some selfish asshole that all you do is talk about comp prep. because what's going to happen when the comp prep's over? You're just now an asshole. You don't even have comp prep to talk about. Or you're then talking about, the next comp and my reverse diet and all of this. And oh my God, nobody wants to hang out with that 24/7 unless they are like a hardcore bodybuilder. So I think it's important for people to have depth in their personality and understanding that not everyone wants to just chat about bodybuilding all day, even me, and I'm a coach. Like one of my best friends is a lawyer, and whenever I see her, she's always so interested in my business, like genuinely interested, because she loves health and fitness. She loves training, even though she's a lawyer. But she will always say to me, she'll start talking to me, and I'll get on a tangent because I'm passionate about what I do. And she'll say, how's your clients and how's this and how's your training? And she always wants to know, and she's always so supportive. But sometimes I have to stop. I'll be like 5 or 10 minutes into conversation, and I'll just be like, mate, like, how's your work? How's your boyfriend? How's your dog? And she's kind of one of the most selfless people that I know, and she's amazing, but I have to force myself to do that. And she always says to me, it's boring, you don't want to hear about it. And I'm like, no, of course I do. Like, we're friends. A friendship goes two ways. So make sure that you're doing that with people around you, that you're not just becoming that person that when someone asks you how your prep is, also that you say things like, I'm so hungry, or I'm so tired, this is so hard. Keep it positive as well. No one wants to hear about that. Like, yeah, if you have an average day and you need some support, then by all means. But if that's every conversation, no one will ask you anymore how your prep is. I think that's a big one. They want to hear you say some days, I'm excited, I dropped this week, I'm feeling good, all of these things. So I think if you're running through any of the emotions that I'm talking about today, that maybe you reconsider whether or not comp prep is right for you at the moment. I'm not saying don't compete, but I'm just saying that if you're really struggling with some of the mindset stuff or struggling with relationships around you, then, check yourself, because it could be you as to what the problem is. Because you see a lot of couples struggle with it, and say the person that's not competing, the competitor will say, they don't understand. And I'm like, well, if they don't understand, explain it to them, rather than being so negative and then getting in arguments about it because you're hungry or tired or whatever it is, because that's a very selfish way to go about it. So if you're going to comp prep, make sure that your mindset is right and that you are in the right zone with everyone around you so that they can support you, but it's not just about you, that you're supporting them back with whatever way you can do that. So that might be a simple thing, like if you've got a friend that always brings you a coffee to your work, and I used to have a friend that used to do that when I prepped. She'd bring me along black. She knew I couldn't have milk and blah, blah, blah. And I would go out of my way to try to go bring her something that she could have. Even if I couldn't eat it, I'd go, drop a burger at her work or do something else for her. I would bake her a cake or, things that she could have to show that I really appreciated that favor because I was dying and, needed a bit of caffeine. So it goes two ways, guys, and I think that there's so many things as well post-comp that mindset-wise are really good to focus on to get you on the right track. And in saying this and summarising up this podcast, I guess that as a coach, they should also be helping you with these things. A lot of my clients will say to me, I'm really struggling, I'm super hungry, and I'm like, okay, well, let's focus on something else. Can you do something with your hands, keep yourself busy, read a book, focus on, look up a holiday that you want to go on, start doing other things that are keeping your mind busy, keeping you happy, and focusing on all the cool things you can experience after comp that aren't just about food. That's a big one. So, and saying this and summarising all this, myself and my partner Sean, who's been on the podcast before, Sean McClaney, he is a champion bodybuilder. We are going to be running a comp prep workshop. It's going to be, I believe, Sunday, June the 11th, the second Sunday in June, basically. So we'll be in Perth. It will be from Revo Fitness in Scarborough. And we'll be running an AM and PM session. So the AM will be females comp prep and the PM will be male comp prep. Now, if you'd like to come to both, I would highly recommend that if you're a coach. A couple of things will cross over, so that's why we've made it cheaper if you come to the whole day, but most of it will be quite separate. So it will be from, I believe, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. if you're coming for the whole day, half an hour lunch break, and we'll have some snacks and things there. And the goal of it is that we're going to help you understand if you're thinking about competing, or if maybe you've competed once before, you prepped yourself, or you work with a coach that maybe you weren't super happy with. or even if you're a coach and you're thinking about maybe becoming a comp prep coach one day, or you've got clients who are competing with, say, an online coach, but you're helping with them in the gym, it can really help anyone there understand the process of it. So we're going to go through the whole process from off-season to in-contest prep to post-comp. We're going to go through everything and kind of the stages of, Sean's going to go through the stages of skinny for guys in the guys section. I'll probably go through the stages of fat for girls in the off-season, and kind of run through where you want to be leading into a show. We're going to talk about judging, symmetry, federations. We're going to basically cover all the federations that are in Western Australia because they're the ones that we've competed in and we're familiar with. So that's IFBB, ICN, NABA WFF, AMB. They're the main ones that we're going to be running through. And then we're going to be talking about how to choose the right federation for you, the right show, the right division, based on how your physique is. We're going to be going through, posing for different divisions. So in the morning with the girls, I'm going to be doing bikini, fitness and figure. And then in the evening with the boys, we're going to be doing physique and bodybuilding, and probably fitness as well. So they're the main ones. And then we're going to talk a shitload about all this stuff. So we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about how to balance it with work, personal life, dating, social, eating out, all of that we're going to go through. We're also going to go through building muscle. We're going to go through your training protocols, kind of everything. It's going to be really cool. But obviously we're not telling you 100% how to prep, but we're giving you some really good ideas and things that you can apply for that to your contest prep, or just help get you educated that if you ever want to compete, you understand a bit more of the logistics of it, even the importance of presentation for girls, hair, beauty, tanning, all of that. We're going to run it through it. So if you want to grab any details about that, it is going to be released over the next few days. But if you want to jump on the mailing list, we're going to have very limited spaces. So we're only going to have about 20 in the AM and PM, or we're going to cap, if everyone's doing net, we're going to cap it at 30 net for the day. We want to keep it quite intimate so that people can ask questions. So if you do want to jump on that, you can email info@aliceround.com and just let me know whether you want to come to the AM or PM or all day. And it's super cheap. We are basically not doing this to make money. We're doing this because we want to get out some of the info that's kind of bottled up inside of us that we think a lot of people don't get told when they go into competing, and then also afterwards, like where to go with it all. So if you're going to come to an individual one, then it's going to be $65. And if you're going to come to the all day, it's just $99. So $100 basically for the day. So that is it, guys. I will be excited to go into the next podcast. We're going to be talking a little bit more scientifically, and like I said, having Lane Norton on soon. So if you have any questions at all, shoot them through to me. I am so thankful for you tuning into another podcast. I promise I won't go MIA again. And if you want to stay up to date as well, you can always jump on my Facebook page where I've been doing a load of Facebook Lives and having a good old rant for like 5-minute videos. And then I'll keep all the longer topics and maybe expand on those in my podcast as well. So thanks for tuning in again, legends, to another episode. I'll chat to you soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of Break Through the Bullshit. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes. Let me know, comment what you'd love to see more of, and be sure you've also subscribed on YouTube and iTunes for updates. And if you'd like more info, then you can also add the Team Round Support Facebook page, which is available to access for all of you, and you just simply need to search for it on Facebook.